So hello everybody, good evening. My name is Feikemi Adurogbangbang. I'm the founder of Speak to Transform Nigeria Limited. Speak to Transform is a faith-based organization, and basically we work to equip, empower, and educate individuals. I personally believe, as the founder of Speak to Transform, that with the right information, people's lives can be transformed. So Speak to Transform is literally the meaning of Speak to Transform. And having the right tips, like a lot of changes can happen to you, happen to your finances, happen to your perspective, change your mindset, your belief system, and just make you be a better person. I strongly believe that there is potential in everybody and there's a seed of greatness in everybody. And as I said earlier, if you have the right information and surround yourself with the right people, you're going to be able to harness that potential that is already in you. So today we have an amazing guest speaker. His name is Mr. Bolaji Akimboro, and he is the chairman of Borian Corelli. I hope I don't bite my tongue saying that. And
Yes, you didn't
he,
bite your tongue.
I've actually pondered on this name. My husband actually, we've been like, what is Borian Corelli? But I'll give you time to explain. Where did they get this name from? So it's really an honor to have you. I thank you so much, considering you have a very busy schedule, and you're here going to pour out wisdom. I've been observing you for quite some time. I think we've known for about 10 years now or
Yeah,
thereabout.
10 years.
And I've been saying, yeah, I like how you set your goals and how you smash them, you meet them, and you've just been a pace setter and a game changer in the agricultural sector and in the fintech world as well, in Nigeria in particular, and even in Africa at large. So I'm going to hand over to you to introduce yourself, tell us what you do, who you are, and a fun fact. What is that thing about you that maybe people don't really know, or maybe people know and think just makes you extra special? So let me hand over to you, Mr. Balaji.
Yeah. Thanks, Faye, for inviting me, and thanks, everyone. My name is Bolaji Akimboro. Everybody calls me Bolaji. When people call me Akimboro, I feel as if they are looking for my daddy. So I'm used to people calling me Bolaji. And basically, for now, I'm running a company called Vodian Corelli as the chairman. It's a kind of different kind of company in agriculture. Basically, what we want to do is to just kind of match make more efficiently, because we notice that if you kind of connect people in the sector more efficiently, you can capture a bigger share of that value for everybody in the value chain and distribute it more equitably. So basically, we're a matchmaking company. But prior to that, I co-founded an interesting company called Cellulant, working in 18 countries. I mean, one of the biggest fintech companies on the internet. But I've done that for so long that I got tired and I needed to do something else. I wanted to just now kind of focus on agri-tech, because I feel that agri-tech is going to be even bigger than fintech when it comes to company valuation. So I kind of suspect that agri-tech, the next maybe 5 years, from 2022 to 2027, you're not going to be hearing so much of fintech companies as the reigning companies. I suspect it's going to be agri-tech companies. So I want to be at the forefront of that wave. Basically, it's a simple game that we're trying to play. We're trying to see whether can we kind of create a new company that solely focuses on Africa agri-tech on the African continent, and then can you sell off that company at a valuation of $1 billion in a period of 40 to 60 months. So it's a nice, interesting challenge. That's really what I'm trying to focus my mind on. And then can you do it with Nigeria as the anchor? So we'll see how it goes. But I think we're going to succeed because we know enough now to make it work. So that's all about me. You asked about a fun fact. I think what's a fun fact is that I'm very funny. So I'd always wondered why people laugh when I'm speaking. But later I discovered that it's the way my voice sounds, that my voice sounds as if I want to laugh. And now people always also want to laugh.
And people don't know when you're really serious, or should I say, me personally, when I met him, I'm like, okay, is this serious or he's not serious? So I think that's what
Exactly.
makes me
So
laugh.
people don't know. And it's interesting you mentioned this, because General Gowon actually made that comment that look at Bolaji is talking about raising $75 million, which is raised. And he's talking about it as if it's 2 naira.
Exactly.
I mean, does this guy know what he's saying at all? And he's talking about it as if it's just a day's job. That's his problem with Bolaji. That he's saying something very serious, but he's talking about it as if it's not that serious.
Seriously, I get that. So
So what would you
let's
like
just
to talk about, or what do you want us to talk about for you this
yeah.
evening?
So pursuing the vision. I want to say why one of the reasons why I invited you to be the speaker of this is because I think the first at the initial stage when I met you, there are some questions you threw at me then that I still reflect on now. And you were asking me then, like, Faye, in the next 7 years, where do you see yourself in the next 14 years? You told me then to break down my my life into I think into a group of 7, like
Yeah,
7 years. Where do you see?
7 yeah.
And then I was like, this guy, please, I'm just chilling. But no, so you had that vision then, and you were really like what you said about the person who said you wanted to raise 75 billion, and you're talking about like it's just 2 naira. Then you are setting some very ambitious goals, and I was like, how is this guy going to do all this? And you've actually hit it and even surpassed it. So that's, as I said, that's why I invited you to be the speaker of this show, pursuing, or rather this topic, pursuing the vision. You have pursued visions, you have smashed them, and you're even ready to start again, to start pursuing another vision. So let's just start with the nitty-gritty. What is vision?
Oh, okay, that's good. Before I kind of talk about what is vision, let me talk about how I dimension life. Because I feel that in this part of the world, Africa, because we don't teach our children how to dimension life, they don't know how to frame their goals properly. So I look at life like a football game. If you look at a football game consists of first half, second half, and extra time. So, and for me, I look at life in those 3 boxes. That age 0 to 40 is like first half, 40 to 80 is second half, and everything beyond 80 is extra time. So question is, in the first half of life, what should somebody be doing? And I kind of learned that typically in the first half of life, what happens? You generally spend the first 24 years in school, so you're a student, and then you've got another 16 years. So most probably that 16 years, you are using it to just understand how life works. You are having children, you are acquiring extra degrees, and then maybe you are acquiring some real money. But for many people, the real action starts in the second half. That's why people say life begins at 40. But in Africa, what life do we plan for our people? We are planning for retirement. That's typically how we are taught here. We are taught to assume that by the time you are 55, you just be preparing to sit at home on a rocking chair. We are not taught to understand that, hey, post 40, I still got 35 years of real active life. So what else should I be doing? I really need to be multiplying all the knowledge that I acquired in the first 40 years much faster, and to do things in a much focused way. And then anything beyond that is extra time. And this thesis of mine, you see it in the life of one of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, who really started making his big money at age 54, and a lot of people did not know that man, some of the achievements he achieved that are so mind-boggling now started when the man was 54. Prior to that, he was just preparing. So back to the main subject of today, what is vision? I don't really have a textbook definition, but I think vision to me is that big picture that is ahead of you that keeps you motivated every day. That thing that allows you to wake up day in, day out without keep getting tired is vision. And I'll give an example. I never really had a vision to make money. That was not really my goal. But there was something that I was clear. I wanted to live a life that helped as many people as possible. So all my life and at every stage, I tried to do things that helped as many people as possible. And then along the line, I began to discover that, okay, if you're helping as many people as possible, those people will kind of reward you. They will reward you with their money in whichever field you chose. Then it now began to get clear in my mind that beyond helping people as many people as possible, I needed now to make the picture clearer. So that was when, and this decision to make the picture clearer did not even dawn on my mind till I was 30 years old. That was when I was 30, I now said, okay, I think what I want to do over the next 15, 20 years of my life is to see whether I can create a company that would be valued at more than $1 billion, or that would generate more than $1 billion in revenues, or that will run program that is bigger than $1 billion. But whatever it's doing, it's something that is going to help a lot of people. And then while doing that, I will also sort out my own economic issues, which is at least I don't need to worry about a house where I will live. I don't need to worry about a car what I will drive. I don't need to worry about food, what I will eat, and that hopefully by the time I finish that 15 years, I should not be in a position now to now do things that are much, much bigger than that. So that's what I call vision. That picture that is ahead of you, that keeps you awake every day and that keeps you motivated every day. And actually, in a way, that prevents you from getting sick. It's like what I tell people, that I have never gone on a holiday in my life. And I say, holiday from what? That the holiday suggests that my life is a burden to me and I need a 3 weeks break from it. But if my life is fun, can I take a holiday from my vision? So I can't really take a holiday from it. So that's how I see vision. That picture that just keeps you awake, keeps you motivated, makes you get up every day, day in, day out, without getting tired. Prevents you from getting frustrated. Because a lot of people get frustrated because actually there's no picture, nothing driving them. So it's that image. And that image, it's formed for different people at different times of their life, and it's shaped by different circumstances. So that's how I see vision. I don't define vision as I want to build 3 houses. I want to buy 2 cars. To me, those are just goals. Because I've found out from experience that when the vision is clear before you, typically all those things are sorted out. It's like what Bible says, make the vision plain, write it on tablets. Really, it's talking about image.
Yeah.
What are you seeing ahead of you? So that's how I see vision.
Wow. Well, I have so many questions popping in my head. I don't even know where to start from. I really like what you said about we not training our children on how to set goals. I think there's a question down the line where we are going to still reference that. And you also mentioned that people get visions at different times in their life. How can a person find a vision for their life? Someone that has joined the show and is confused as to, okay, everybody is talking about vision. How do I get a vision for myself? How do I know that I'm not copying and pasting? For example, I've heard you say, okay, I set a goal at 30 years old to hit 1 billion mark for the kind of in revenue for my company. I'm not copying and pasting. How did you know that that was the line you were meant to do? How did you know that you were meant to go into fintech or now you're choosing to do agri-tech? Or now you're even saying, okay, in the next 5 years, this is what you're seeing with agri-tech as against fintech in Nigeria or in Africa. How does a person know?
Okay, fortunately, this is a faith-based forum, which is very important. One of the things I tell people is that there's a reason why, if you're a Christian, you must know a lot of Bible stories. Because, and you see, I'm not saying knowing Bible for quoting.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Bible, if that's the Bible itself is a revelation of how God has interacted with man, how men have interacted with men, and now even devils have interacted with men.
True.
And the Bible now kind of tells stories of real people. And I can tell you something easily. I can tell you something. I can tell you easily. Sorry, it's my phone.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah. I can tell you something easy. You see, the people in the Bible, even though they are long gone, but those characters are still with us today. You still have Joseph with us today. You still have David with us today. You still have Jehoshaphat with us. You still have Peter, James, and John. Those characters are still with us. So what I found out is that if somebody is very familiar with all those stories, what it does is that it kind of paints a picture in somebody's mind or somebody's spirit of what God wants to do through men in different times and different generations. And you see what now happens is that when those seeds are in somebody's mind, those things now, one can now begin to apply them in contemporary society. Are you with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if one now understands it that way, one can now find one's character in the Bible and one's story. And I'll give an example, just to keep it short. When God said to Abraham that he will be the father of many nations, the man was an old guy. You think about it. That guy was when God told him all this stuff, the man was more than 70 years old. Extremely interesting story. When God told him to leave, when God told him that he will be a blessing to the whole world, you know, for a while, this man could not understand what God was talking about until one day God had to take him out. I said, look at the sky. Can you count the stars? The man can't count them. Look at the sand. Can you count it? You can't count it. He said, so yes, shall your children be. So God painted the picture for him, and that man had to see that picture. But when you take a look at when God spoke to that man, did that man really see those children as stars? He didn't, but we were seeing them.
Yeah.
But when you now see, you now begin to see the continuum that he had to have his own one son. Then his one son now became a tribe, became a family, a clan. They became 12. Then when they went to Egypt, they became, you know, like a tribe now. There were 600,000. When they left Egypt now, they became a nation state, Israel. And when you begin to see that story now, you begin to see how God was now raising what they needed at different points. When God now brought Moses. Because a lot of people don't understand, why was Moses going to train in the palace of Pharaoh? Because for the promise of God to be fulfilled, the nation state of Israel, you needed somebody that was trained in nation building. And for you to be trained in nation building, you have to go and live in the palace. And that was why Moses had to be trained in the palace for 40 years. And then Moses now had to be trained now, because the training you learn in the palace and the training you need to undo God's people, they are totally different. He had to now go through another 40 years of training to now become Moses the shepherd. So you begin to see that his first training was Moses the administrator. He became Moses the shepherd. Then Moses the shepherd came to Israel and became Moses the deliverer. So when somebody kind of understand these stories now, one cannot say, in my own generation, in my family context, in my city, in my situation, who am I? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Because when I now figure out who am I, according to those storylines, it's now easy to now say, okay, if this is who I am, in my generation now, what should be happening through me? Because if somebody can figure out those questions, all this stuff of fintech, agri-tech, construction, they are just instruments. Are you with me?
Yeah.
They're just instruments, because when I was 30, fintech didn't exist. What existed was only mobile phone. And even in Africa, mobile phones were new. Nobody ever knew what was possible today. But what I understood was that, look, if I read this Bible story, I think I'm going to be one of those characters that will change the life of many people. In my own context and my own situation now, how do I do that? Considering that I don't even have 1 naira in my pocket. And that the only way to do that now is that I needed to now have ideas that take advantage of what other people have built. And at that time, the only way to take advantage of it was through telecoms. So that was how now I found my purpose or my instrument through telecoms, through technology. It was really taking what God has done through the life of different people in the Bible and bringing them to bear in contemporary society. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's really so. If anybody were to, I would say, look, my brother, just make sure that you know a lot of those Bible stories. Then look at your life experiences in the light of those Bible stories. Wow. You know, and then when you now know that maybe you are a Daniel, automatically it becomes clear that if I'm a Daniel, that means I'm going to find my purpose through civil service. Then automatically now, I now know that, okay, actually, if Daniel was one of the, I've forgotten the title they were calling them now. They were like governors anyway. They were like prime ministers. They were like little prime ministers. Maybe that's my calling. I need to set a goal for myself that I'm going to be a prime minister. Because why? If I get to that place, I can influence as many people as possible. Wow. So that's how I will respond. Yeah. Otherwise, you will shape your own goal through the light of somebody else.
Wow.
And that's what's causing problem in Nigeria today. Everybody thinks I will only succeed if I'm a millionaire. Nobody has ever considered that I may not be a millionaire. I could just be a school teacher, a school principal, and I will affect millions of lives. Like my older brother, he was the teacher all his life. He just retired. You know, and he said, if I have to come to life again, I would still like to be a secondary school teacher. But this my brother now. You see, if you measure him by money, you will think he's not a success, but it's a serious success because he's in retirement. He doesn't need to beg money for everybody. He's doing stock trading now. He has money. And when you see his quality of life, nobody could believe that this man was just a secondary school teacher through all his life.
Wow, wow. I love from what you have said, what I could pick was, first of all, meditation goes a very long way. You have to start by reading the word, meditating,
Yes.
reflecting. You have to
Yes.
reflect on what you have meditated on. Ask yourself questions, like lock up yourself, ask, who am I? Find out who has, hello, Mr. Balaji.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Who are those that have gone ahead of me? How do I align with such characters in the Bible? Personally, I love the Bible, and I think it's a very, very powerful tool that we have underestimated for a long time. Or should I say me, I have underestimated. I don't know about others on this show. So meditation, reflection, and find problems to solve within your immediate society. And the thing is that you may even have that talent already, just waiting to burst out to fix that problem. And as you said, we shouldn't measure our success based on the quantity of money we have, but rather the lives that we impact. So that was really, really powerful, personally for me, and I hope for those in the audience as well. So when you discovered who you are, you mentioned not taking holidays. I don't think I'm going to be in that category.
Don't follow that.
Because as much as, yes, you find your purpose and you're pursuing your vision, it is a lot of work because you're coming out of your comfort zone. You're coming out of the normal, of the waking up, going to work. You have to be strategic in all that you do. You have to be thinking. So not having a holiday, man, it's going to be a difficult one. So how do
let me say it the way my wife says it. She will say, Bolaji, you can be talking about not taking a holiday, but your life is one gigantic holiday because you spend all of your time traveling in hotels. So you can be saying this rubbish, but for me, I need my holiday. Because you don't need a holiday because your life is a holiday.
Exactly.
I need a holiday.
So how do you pursue this vision with clarity and confidence that this is what is mine? Like, and having clarity. For example, last year, I knew I wanted to do this, and you were one of the people I spoke to about Speak to Transform, a company that equips, educates, and empowers people. But I did not have a structure. I didn't have a framework. Even though after I spoke to you and some other people, I still was in limbo. But over the period of, as in throughout 2020, I was able to develop a framework, which I'm still developing. But you have gone way ahead of me in age and in experience and everything. So how do you get clarity in pursuing this vision?
Okay, you see, this is the thing. I've kind of learned that a vision is like a plant.
Okay.
And just the same way the plant will germinate, it will start growing, it will produce fruit. It's like that. Okay. The vision kind of becomes clearer and evolves and takes shape over time. What one wants to avoid is for that time to take forever. And that's where the question of meditation, thinking, having reflection times matters a lot. You see, what I found out from experience is that when people say they want to pray or they have what they call quiet time, check out how many people spend their quiet time. They are busy tormenting God by talking. They forget that God himself is always talking. And we are actually supposed to do more of listening to kind of understand what we are supposed to do. So how to pursue a vision is a simple things. A vision becomes reality, number one, because of the vision bearer. Anytime a vision is dropped in the heart of somebody, trust me, the people the person needs, the materials the person needs, and the circumstances the person needs, they have been made available at the same time. But it's just that the person has not possessed those things now. So what I found out is that immediately a vision is battered in somebody's spirit, the person just has to just start by acting on it now. You see, a lot of time, many people are waiting for perfection. They're waiting for funding. They're waiting for supporters. They just don't understand that. Just start. Just start. So I tell people that you need to figure out where to start from. And I'll give an example. When I made up my mind to say I want to focus the next 5-7 years on agritech, the question is, where do you now start from? Are you with me?
Yeah.
You know, and the first place to start from is, what are we even going to call the vehicle? You know, and people say, this is your name, Vorian Corelia. Where on earth did it come from? It actually means masterful inventor. You understand? Vorian is a name from science fiction. It's from a science fiction novel, Dune, written by a man called Frank Herbert many, many years ago, actually around the 1950s. They called that man one of the prophets of science fiction. So the latest books, the follow-up books, are being written by his son, Brian Herbert, and another writer called Kevin Anderson. They've kept the spirit of that man. And Corelli is an Italian writer that wrote books around the 1900s. So the very first name they gave an Italian mathematician who was also a musician was Corelli. So the two names joined together means this company about inventions, innovations, and doing them in a way that makes you a master of a sector. And where did we come up with the name? What happened was that we were just talking to a lawyer about registration of the company. And the lawyer said that maybe we should call the company Ugu Nigeria Limited or something. And then when I said, you must be drunk, Ugu Nigeria Limited. And then they said, okay, you may be Okra International. And then we were just throwing up names, just the way we are laughing now. And then we came up with like 16 different names. And then along the line, it hit me hard that actually, although we are laughing, this exercise is actually a very spiritual exercise. And then we now concluded that he said he liked Brian. Another person said they liked Corelli. And then he now said, okay, let me just go and do a search. And then he found out that Brian was available, Corelli was available. Then we sat down again, and then we just said, why don't we just join the two names together? When he asked, that what do these names really mean? So we just started, and boom, we have a name. We paid him to incorporate. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and the next thing is that, okay, how are we going to capture in agritech now? What are we going to do? You know, we just started, and every action was leading to the next. Every action was leading to the next. So I always tell people that, you know, just start. Start from the simplest and basic step you can start from. That immediately you start, you're going to discover that there's just a way God and angels work with entrepreneurs. That you're just going to discover that when you take the first step, suddenly the next step will come to your I don't want to even use your mind, to your spirit. The next step will come, and then you just discover that you're just moving forward.
Yeah.
And then as you're moving forward, one thing many people don't do is to now add knowledge to their forward movement. They don't study. And in that area of expertise now, one now needs to invest a lot of time to study a lot of what have other people done before. Which knowledge do I need to make this in a success? Because people say experience is the best teacher, but I don't really agree. Experience is the worst teacher. Because why should you suffer when other people have suffered? You can just learn from their suffering and avoid their suffering and build on their suffering. So that's been what I would say, that just start. Anytime God drops something in your mind to do and you've received it, you know, just start from the simplest possible step. You know, many people, they think that they should go and look for sponsors or money first. And I tell people that money is the last thing you need. Just start. You're just going to discover that at every step, what you need is just coming. It's just being available, step by step, step by step. And the point that you now need serious money, you just discover that suddenly those things have just kind of arranged themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So Bolaji's voice will just start.
Yeah, so for clarity, just start. I completely agree with that. But there are some people that have started and have given up along the way because they've been frustrated. Maybe
Yes.
due to a lot of myriad of factors. So what I don't know, what will not make you to give up on pursuing that vision? As you said, the only thing that is going to deter you is when you're not finding economic opportunities from this vision. What will make you not to give up on it?
Okay, let me tell you the problem in contemporary Nigerian society and with youths.
Yeah.
You see, when you take a look at our environment, who are our heroes? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Our heroes are Big Brother Nigeria stars. And then the second problem is, look at our language in this country. Our language is, you don't hammer. Are you with me? Our language is the language of shortcuts. Then look at our national thinking. In the way we run our country, what are the words that we like in Nigeria? Allocation, sharing. So our heroes, our language, our lexicon have conditioned the mentality of people to be looking for what I call instantaneous stuff. That's why in Nigeria, you will see people will talk about miracle money. Are you with me?
Yeah, yeah.
You see the lexicon, the language. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So it's now kind of, it could some people could interpret it to mean there's no journey towards the outcome. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So because they do not see that there's a journey, take a look at Joseph. Did Joseph become the prime minister of Egypt? Look at the journey the guy went through, you know, from being thrown into a pit to being a servant to being in jail to becoming the prime minister of Egypt. Look at the journey of Moses. You understand? He was thrown into a river. He was in the palace. He was in the wilderness. Then he came back. You know, look at the story of Jacob. David. He was looking after goats and sheep. Then he was a bandit for a while.
Yeah.
You know. Look at the journey. So you begin to see that between when the vision crystallizes in a perfect way and the time it is delivered, there is a time factor there. And that's why, if one understands that type of factor effect, there's only one prayer that one needs to pray. Bible will talk about that the God will do a quick work and will cut it short in righteousness. That in my vision and its actualization, God should do a quick work. That it will cut short in righteousness. So what happened is that you want to understand that time bit. You know, the time understanding allows somebody not to give up. I mean, it's like planting maize.
Yeah.
You can plant maize in the ground. You can pray from now till end of the day, from every 24/7. That maize is not going to give you something to pluck from that farm till after 90 days. You know, so the question is that what does God expect you to do when you plant that maize? He expects you now to kind of fundamentally now nurture the seed. Are you with me? Water the seed, protect the plant. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
So many people now don't water the seed or the vision. They don't protect the vision. They just expect that God has told me that I'm going to be very wealthy. Then they're thinking that, man, in 2 years' time, man, I'm going to be like Davido, you know, I'm in private jets, or I'm going to be like Momfa, or now the notorious Hush Puppy, you know, in the Versace in Dubai, you know, and then Fendi is bringing me birthday cakes. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You know, so when people are not realizing that now, they get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because there is no big vision that you don't have to conquer, you know, opposition. There's none. You know, take a look at it. When God anointed even David in the Bible, you understand what I mean? Before God gave him opportunity, when he went to deliver bread to his brothers at the war front, you know, there was a time span.
Yeah.
And then when he said he was going to fight Goliath, look at what he said to Saul. He said that when a lion came after my father's sheep, I had to deal with it. When a bear came, I had to deal with it. Meaning David already had done dress rehearsal. That this Goliath is going to be like the lion and the bear.
Yeah.
So many people now, they don't want to tackle the lion or the bear. In fact, in some people's cases, they don't want to tackle a cockroach and a rat. They now want to now go and fight an alligator. I mean, the alligator will chew you to pieces. And then when the alligator bites them now, they'll be screaming, no, there's a problem, there's this problem. You know?
Oh gosh, yeah. I there's something my dad actually tells me a lot. Look at nature and see how it works. When you understand that everything takes time. I like what you said, that you've gotten the vision that you're going to be a wealthy person, but you also have to know that, number one, there's a time factor. Looking at the characters in the Bible, as in looking at it, like studying the Bible, really, it's, for me, it's just the manual that is left and given to us to guide us, because every character that we saw that wanted to take shortcuts, for example, maybe Saul, you saw where he went.
We saw how the outcome.
Exactly, you saw the outcome, but those who are steadfast, who are patient, we also saw the outcome. So it's not left for you to choose which path you want to go. And as I said, if you just know that it's about time, and you have to be patient, you have to persevere. You are going to get there by God's special grace, because I believe he doesn't fail us, and he's too faithful to fail. So when should the person know when to change direction from the vision? For example, you led Cellulant for 10 to 15 years, and you said, okay, it's time for me to live here. I want to go into agri-tech now. How did you know that it was time?
No, it's just it's a simple matter. And it relates to what I said, which is, if you have clarity of what God wants to do with you and through you, which is, I want to do stuff that affects as many people as possible. And I simply just felt that, fintech as fintech, okay, you provide a platform. You are getting a share of money that other people make. But you see, are you really assisting as many people as you could? So I needed now that I wanted to, that look, right now, I wanted to be able to change the life of at least 5 to 7 million real people. Are you with me? And fintech wasn't going to deliver that for me. So I just knew that, okay, I needed to move, and I needed to move on. So what happened is that, let's call it the call of the purpose. That's what I will call it.
Okay.
So for me, so cellular was just a vehicle. It's like a car. At a point, you're going to realize that this car might not take you where you want to go at the time you want to get there. You can decide to go to Kano with a Volkswagen. That's great. But maybe it will take you 3 days to get there. But maybe if you had the Mercedes Benz, it will take you 1 day. Maybe if you had a private jet, it will take you an hour. You understand what I mean? It's a function of. So now I wanted to move fast at the speed of my mind. So because I wanted to move at the speed of my mind, then I needed to find a structure that allows me to move at that speed. So it's a combination of all those stuff. And then something very, very subtle. I believe that God tells each one of us when the cloud of glory has shifted. And there's a way of knowing that, look, the cloud has moved. So now it's very difficult to explain now. But the only thing I can say is that there's just a way you can know in your spirit that the cloud has moved and you need to move.
Yeah. Wow.
You need to move with the cloud. So for me, I always say, look out for the glory or look out for the cloud.
Wow, interesting. I like how you rounded that up. Like you will know when the cloud of glory has shifted. What has kept you going thus far, considering how difficult it's said to fulfill dreams in Nigeria?
No, it's just a simple people. You see, I kind of feel that for me, because my own dreams were linked to helping people, and I love people. You understand? And I believe that the problems of Africa can only be solved by Africans. The problem of Nigerians can only be solved by Nigerians. And what has kept me going is a simple idea. I don't want my children to ask me, to say, Daddy, what did you do? And then now, when they ask, what did you do now? You cannot say what you did. So I wanted to be able to answer the question that this is what I did. I contributed. It's better to contribute and not succeed than to be in a position where all you can say is that, oh, I didn't contribute. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. That would be really, really very terrible.
Or you don't even have an answer at all. Some people don't even have an answer to contribute. Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Wow. How spiritual is it to achieve a person's vision?
For me, I think that area is extremely I don't mean, and you can define spiritual by many things. You understand what I mean? Somebody can say it means praying 5 times a day. Some people can say it means going to a mountain for 3 days. Some people can say it means fasting and things like that. But I will summarize in a simple way. I would just say everybody that must succeed at a certain level must develop a fellowship with God. In a way, must develop a friendship with God. If you see the way God spoke about Abraham, like Abraham is my friend. You understand what I mean? Now it is that friendship now. One cultivates it through a number of things, through a place of prayer, through a place of study, through a place of meditation, through a place of fellowship with other people. Like this meeting we're having now. It's a form of fellowship. We're kind of enjoying each other's presence. We might not have been clapping our hands, single, praise the Lord.
This one like this.
but you see, unless you are spiritual, you might not actually understand that. Okay, even though we're talking about other stuff, but we're actually having fellowship, you understand what I mean? Which is a rubbing of minds together that improves all of us.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I feel that that's really where some people also miss it. Who do they interact with that improves them? You know, so if you check how some people spend their time, they spend their time in fellowship that doesn't improve them. In fact, actually in fellowship that takes away from them.
True.
You know, so that's why I tell people that I don't need to be in your house every day to be your friend. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't need to be in your face to be your friend.
Mm.
You know, but we can be friends because of the things that we discuss, the purpose that unite us together. So all of us in the room now, we're united by a common purpose. We all desire success. That's what brings us together.
Yeah.
So in a way, we are like a success fellowship, if I to use that language. So you discover that each one of us will try to achieve success in different areas, and depending on how we rub off on each other, we assist each other on that journey. So that's what I would say.
Wow. This is, I think I had a meeting sometime, was it last year or 2 years ago? And you are one of the people I actually met to help me with shop and play. I think I'm always bombarding you when I want when I want to do something. And I met some few other people. And one thing, funny enough, the person who made me know how spiritual it is in just being successful, his words were heavy. And he did sponsor me at the end of the day, but I just picked that nugget and I kept it, the wisdom nugget he shared with me, and kept it in my pocket. And it's something I always reflect on. It was like, you can't make it without being spiritual. If your spirituality is that you're worshiping under God left to you, that's fine. If your spirituality is that you're holding on to God, but there's a certain level, just as you have said, that you have to, there's a threshold you cannot cross if you don't have spiritual forces backing you up. So how spiritual is it to achieve a person's vision? I'm just adding to what you have said. It's very spiritual to achieve to achieve your vision. But some may say people in the West are not spiritual, and yet they are hitting their goals, smashing their goals, and attaining visions. So, and here we are having several churches. You can have 10 churches on a 1 kilometer road, and Nigeria is where it is today. How can you marry that?
I can tell you this one for free, Feyi. The people that we think are not spiritual are extremely very, very spiritual.
Wow.
Are extremely very spiritual. You see, it is a definition of what we mean by their spirituality. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Because remember that there is God already blessed man. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And every day, God is also every day giving gifts to men. What people in Europe and America have mastered is how to collect those gifts from God at the level of revelation that they are. That's why you can see a guy like Elon Musk, and it can drop into his mind that we are going to live on the moon, we are going to live in space, and in a 10-year period, he's almost made that possible. Where did he get that inspiration from? Do you think it's from the devil? There are just some things that the devil cannot inspire somebody to do.
Okay. Okay.
Then you begin to understand. Take a look at all the entire galaxy. Why did God create all these things and then only Earth is there men 7 billion? Do you realize that most probably in the mind of God, every single man that is alive today that comes to an understanding of the revelation of Jesus Christ actually and puts that revelation to work could actually be running an entire planet by himself. So Jupiter could actually be run. Maybe the governor of Jupiter is Feyi. Take a look at Revelation. You know, it says, I create a new heavens and a new earth. And the old have passed away, a new order of things. So my view is that until we begin to understand this part of the world, that God is creating a new order of things. And each one of us have a role to play in that order. And our spirituality is supposed to express itself in the physical world. Because the Bible said the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our God. So what does God expect from us? He expects from us now to be captains of industry, captains of science, captains of philosophy. You understand? And you see, we got to give time to those efforts. So because if you don't give time to it, you're going to discover that, you know, I found out something, that God can drop an idea in your mind. And the minute you start speaking about that idea, you are releasing it to the air. And if you don't do anything with it, another person can pick that idea and run with it.
Yeah.
So you begin to discover that the whole world is surrounded by ideas. You know, I saw somebody ask about a new order. You know, what I meant is that a new arrangement of things. For example, when you look at the way the world is arranged today, it's arranged around a certain structure. In fact, the design of the world today, I will call it the Bretton Woods design, which is the world we are living in today and the way things are arranged was designed by the Bretton Woods institution after World War II. Are you with me? Now, because of COVID, there's a new rearrangement of things. You know, so you discover that in every generation there's a rearrangement. So those of us who are Christians now, what we need to do now is to now kind of begin to kind of allow our Christianity to flourish in the arrangement of things, how the world works. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You know, that's how I think about it anyway. But this is not a class on what I will call, some people will call it Christian philosophy.
Yeah. Wow. Is beyond the four walls of the church, really, as in Christianity. Is I like what you said about you expressing your spirituality to just contribute to improving humanity as God's project. But anyways, let's not delve into Christian philosophy. And I know you have to run off on that program. So
Yeah.
you mentioned something at the beginning of the program saying that Africa, the society in Africa doesn't take time or put efforts in building goals of our children, building their
Yes.
visions and things like that. How do you think both family and the educational institution in Nigeria and in Africa at large can build visionaries, true visionaries for tomorrow?
Excellent. You know, we need to begin to express an idea to children in our families. And I really thank God for giving me these insights when I was 13 years old. And the insight was that I must take my life beyond where my parents left me. And I must lay a foundation for my children to take their life beyond where I took them. So that at one particular point in time, out of this family, a world leader can arise. You know what I mean? A world changer can arise. A world influencer can arise. So I think right from an early age, we need to begin to help our children to see the right picture. We need to allow them to see pictures beyond just what I call the traditional picture. We want you to be a doctor. We want you to be a pharmacist. We want you to be an engineer. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to begin to help our children now to see the world. You know, that their heart contains the world. And because their heart contains the world, they are really on top of the world. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So that way, the children are kind of seeing themselves as contributors. Are you with me? They are not seeing themselves as survivors, which is, let me just grow up, get a job, I pray, or I work, I marry, I pray, I build a small house. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of think about it, that we need to kind of paint a new picture to the mind of children. Are you with me?
Yes.
It is like what the Americans have done successfully. They've so much dominated the mind of their children with this idea that I'm an American. Are you with me? That everybody wants to be an American. But to be an American is only an idea.
Yeah. I like what you said about painting their minds to be contributors rather than survivors, because a lot of us, I think, we just grew up with, oh, let's just get that job in that gas company, let's get that house in that gated estate, let's get the best of cars, without really thinking. You mentioned earlier on, without thinking, what am I contributing? I like what you also said about, if your children should ask you, what have you done to do to make Nigeria a better place, or just to make humanity a better place? What have you done? What kind of question? How are you going to answer? So these are things that we should start instilling in the mind of our kids as well. Both, we can't leave it to the schools alone, but even in the family, the kind of things they watch. As you said, our generation, the youths, the heroes are the big brothers, and it fascinates me personally when I see that young children of 6, 7 are also watching those kind of things, and I feel it's not putting them in the right path. So I don't know if people in the audience have questions, and if you do, you can just type or unmute and throw questions to our guest speaker before he runs off. He has about 10 minutes or less to leave for another program. And if we don't, I'm so happy you came here, sir. I'm really, really glad you made out time for Speak to Transform talk show. And I don't know if anybody has questions. I'm checking through the comments section.
Yeah, I mean, we've said a lot. I'm sure guys have a lot to reflect on, but feel free to always invite me. You know,
Okay.
if you have questions and people want my number, feel free to share it. They should just send me WhatsApp.
Awesome.
You know,
We'll do
because
that.
we are all on a journey together.
Yes, so thank you
You
so
know,
much, sir. But what one thing will you want to leave the audience with? Like they shouldn't forget that you said this.
no, I mean the thing is this: it's just that you can be all you want to be,
Wow.
and you can live the best kind of life. You know,
Wow.
you can go skiing in the South Pole, you can go drag racing in Japan or Tokyo, you can take a drink in Monaco, in Vienna, you can make the world. It's very possible for the world to be your village. You understand what I mean?
Wow.
You
Wow.
know that you can in fact to say see the world as your playground. Are you with me?
Hmm.
You know, Nigeria is just like a boarding room that you kind of, you know, it's like a staging station. You come there, you sleep, and then when you leave that place, the world is your playground, if you were to ask me.
Wow. But there's a lot of work you have to do before it becomes a playground, sir.
No, but you see, if you are going to live till you are 80 plus, there's a lot of time to make it your playground. Let's come out
Wow.
of the African mindset of somebody that wants to retire at 60.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, it's like what I told somebody that I can tell you for free, I'm not going to retire. And if I want to check out of this world, I want to check out with a computer on my laps. Are you with me?
Oh goodness. Wow. Wow. We hear a lot of motivational speakers say this. Personally, I hear a lot of Western motivational say what you just said about the world being your playground. But to hear a Nigerian who has built a successful company and is building under successful company saying it gives me hope. And definitely, I'm going to be knocking on your door soon to come and steal ideas and pick your brains as much as possible. So again, I want to say thank you very much, and thank everybody who took out time to participate in this program. And I'm so grateful to have everybody. Have a beautiful week and a blessed week as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And my friend Mayowa, thank you very much. Not seeing you in a while. Let's find time to catch up for a drink. Okay,
Okay,
bye-bye.
sir. I'm going to
Cheers.
yes, you. Thank you. Bye bye, sir.